before we do anything, before we go forward, I can guarantee you, okay, everybody in this room, probably everybody for that matter, has limitations that they placed on themselves in their own mind, okay? It's called a limiting belief. I was joking about it earlier in terms of I don't have enough time. That's bullshit. You can make time. You can outsource it. You can hire people. You can bring in a partner. There's so many things you can do. You can automate your business. Don't give me this crap that you don't have enough time, okay? You can make time should you choose to, okay? I'm not saying you have to, but should you choose to. Saying to yourself, I don't have enough time, or I'm not educated enough, all right? I just got done with Unleash the Power Within Tony Robbins event, and Tony Robbins, like him or not, right, he is a billionaire, and he doesn't even have a high school diploma. Don't give me this story about you're not educated enough. That's completely ridiculous, okay? Or this is too hard. Don't even get me started on that one, okay? Don't even get me started. Oh, this is too overwhelming. Then break it into pieces and hire somebody to help you with it, right? I mean, let's think like owners here of, businesses that are scaling substantially and your personal income is growing, doubling year over year. It's extremely possible, okay? You just have to deploy the right strategy. But before you deploy anything, a common mistake, guys, is that you go to the strategies, right? I don't have enough leads. I got to start marketing. So I'm gonna do social media. I'm gonna start posting stuff every single day. I'm gonna do Facebook Live. And what in the hell are you trying to achieve? That's just random acts of marketing darts thrown at the wall without a clear outcome, okay? You need to have your clear outcome first, okay? But before we get to the strategies, which is the temptation, David, just give me the sexy strategies. That's what I want. You won't take action on them if you have these limitations in your head. You won't do it. Guaranteed, as soon as you have some resistance, you're going to fall apart, you're going to break down, and it's not going to work for you, okay? And you're going to waste a ton of time and money, tons of time and money, okay? So we're going to replace limiting beliefs with absolute power, okay? That's the framework, okay? We're going to have some fun here, and you're going to feel like, man, like I feel like this is like an energy seminar or something, like, right? I mean, yes, I'm going to deliver to you, I'm going to inject my energy into you, right? But you're going to do this for yourself, okay? You're going to do this for yourself. I'm just going to show you how to do it, okay? So your biggest enemy in business and in life are your perceived limitations that you've placed on yourself. It's true, okay? If you say to yourself, I don't belong here, who am I kidding? This is not going to work for me. Maybe it'll work for him, easy for him to say. He's been in business for 10 years. I've only been in business for 5 years, right? Or whatever, right? You're making up stories that will destroy your success, okay? And so I'm going to teach you how to smash these and obliterate these, okay? Most entrepreneurs fail, not only at acquisitions, but just in general with anything, right? I didn't pull the statistics on how many businesses fail within 1 year and never actually make any money whatsoever, but it is shocking. It is an insanely small percentage of businesses that will even survive a year, let alone be profitable, right? I mean, it is mind-boggling. Most of the time, it's not the economy, it's not COVID. I talked to some entrepreneurs, by the way, that restaurant business, you're like, they're done. Now, this dude opened up all kinds of restaurants, took the market share from others that used COVID as an excuse, okay? And he quadrupled his business in COVID. Right? So, I mean, and he was in the restaurant business when California said you can't operate and nobody can go in there. He's like, all right, fine. I'm going to create all these lanes. I'm going to have all these delivery things. I'm going to have all this stuff all over the place. And when everyone else shut down, this guy dominated the market share. I was like, that is inspirational, right? So there's no possible excuse, okay, or limiting belief that you can truly justify to actually hold on to, okay? So these limiting beliefs will keep you stuck. It really comes down to fear, okay? That just like that intense fight or flight in your body, right? Where you get it in there and now you're just, oh man, I can't do this. And then you're shutting down, right? And then you hide out and you don't do the marketing strategy. You're like, man, I feel like this will work, but who am I kidding? This is not going to work. It's too expensive. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. These are all limiting beliefs, okay? We got to blow those up, okay? Destroy them, all right? All right, so I'm going to give you 3 steps. I'm going to give you some examples, and then you're going to do it yourself, okay? This is going to be a very consistent framework for today, okay? I'm going to teach you it. I'm going to give you an example, and then you're going to do it yourself on your workbook, okay? So how to transform fear to power, okay? Number 1, you need to just identify it, okay? I give you some classic examples, right? I don't have the time. Who am I kidding, right? That kind of stuff, right? If you hear that, right, that's a limiting belief, all right? Or really, you could just, if you're like, I don't know if this is a limiting belief or not, target anything that disempowers you. Anything that doesn't drive you forward in terms of that's in your head, right? Anything that doesn't drive you forward, make you more profitable, more successful, more empowered, more liberated, more fulfilled, whatever, you can attack that, okay? And you can use the same strategy for any of those things, okay? Any of those things, okay? So once you identify it, all right, that's just basically producing a negative result, right? I'm so nervous that I'm scared or whatever, like all these things, right? Let's target the underlying methodology for that, right? Number 2, okay? In what way could this belief be changed to take something that's disempowering and make it empowering? Okay, let me give you an example. An easy way to do this is to do, like, basically flip it, okay? You're like, all right, I don't have the time. How would you flip that? I got all the time in the world. I'll make time. I will make time for this because that's how important it is to me. That's flipping it. You're just taking the opposite. The opposite of whatever it is, like this is impossible. What an opportunity, right? This is going to destroy me. I'm going to conquer this because this is what I do and this is who I am, right? You see how I'm just taking whatever disempowering bullshit that is fear-based and is likely being fed to you by either your culture, the community just in general. Okay, you're being conditioned when you turn on the TV and any news outlet. I don't care what you watch, right? It's conditioning you, right? And you're being conditioned to feel a certain way, or you got it from your family. Okay, as a child, from your parents or whatever, like you're just taking these beliefs that were fed into you and you just take them as true, okay? That kind of thing. Like when I grew up, entrepreneurial lifestyle was the last thing that I would ever do. That was insane. That was way too risky and an absolute waste. What, you want to go bankrupt? Are you insane? You want to open your own business? How ridiculous is that? You should work 40 hours, contribute to your 401k, and you work until you're, whatever, 60, and then you retire, and then you die. That's what I was raised in, okay? I've got 3 active companies and 4 more on the way, okay? I've chosen my lifestyle, right? I've chosen my direction of life because I identified this stuff and I changed it. Okay, I want to teach you how to do that, okay? So flip the meaning. What would be the opposite to what limiting belief you just have, and then what would promote wealth or prosperity or progress, okay? Step 3, then you just commit to it. Now that you've come up with the opposite meaning, aka the reframe, now you need to commit to it. Say it to yourself daily. I put stuff on my mirror. I like little paper, like I print it out and I put it on my wall right next to my bed. So I'm in bed here. I put my feet on the ground and I look at the wall. Boom, I've got some empowering stuff on my wall, okay? That's going to get me in a powerful state of mind the second I get out of bed. I don't look at my phone for at least an hour after waking up, right? I'm going to do all of this stuff to make sure that I am in just a powerful state, okay? That's what I do, okay? And I encourage you to do the same thing. It's amazing, okay? So this is how you can transform. This is not rocket science, guys, okay? And I know every single entrepreneur that I've ever met, right, deals with some form of these kinds of things, okay? So you can completely root them out and convert them, okay? You can convert it into power, okay, by looking at it instead of an impossibility as an opportunity to dominate, okay, that kind of thing, okay, whatever it means to you, okay, whatever it feels appropriate for you, all right? So, all right, I'm going to give you some more examples of limiting beliefs, specifically as it relates to acquisitions and entrepreneurial stuff here, okay? I don't have the money. I don't have the money to make an acquisition. Well, no problem. I'll just use performance pay. I'm going to use a performance pay, basically transaction style, and to be able to do it without money. I don't need money. I will make money. I will find money. I will, create money. I have, wealth is at my fingertips. These are all just more examples of the same kind of reframe. That was like, man, if I say that, man, I feel good. I feel really good. I can create money whenever I want, right? As entrepreneurs, you can create money at will. Every single entrepreneur can, right? With providing enough value or just providing more value to the people you already serve, you will generate wealth easily, okay? Most experienced entrepreneurs understand this. It's just when you get caught into your anxiety spirals that you just don't realize it, right? So that's number 1. Number 2, it's too risky. Risky compared to what, right? Just driving on the highway or just driving down Winchester. 10 times more risky than anything we're going to talk about here. You're taking your life in your own hands just trying to cross Margarita, right? I mean, it's just like Inez. Like there's You just ignore red lights for a little while, let alone if you go to, New York or anything else. You're like, you are taking your life in your own hands by driving, right? Or walking down the street or anything else for that matter, okay? Risk is relative. Risk is relative. If you say that's too risky is compared to what? You know what? I'm going to control this risk and I'm going to maximize my outcome. That would be a reframe, right? That's how I reframe that. I'm not an expert. I don't care. I don't need to be an expert. I'm going to either bring people into my team that have done this before. I'm going to partner with people. I'm going to hire people. I'm going to consult with people. I will find the information, right? That kind of thing. I mean, that's, if you really, I believe in business, you should be niching down and you should be outsourcing as much as possible, okay? A brand new entrepreneur, you got 25 hats on your head, right? And then very, very quickly you learn that you're going to be driven insane if you do that, right? You are going to have an anxiety attack, a meltdown, a heart attack, or you're going to quit, right? Because you're like, I've got 25 hats. I'm the marketer, I'm the HR person, I'm the salesperson, I do all the production, I make all the phone calls, and I do all the work, and holy crap, like what a nightmare. Now, we all go through it, right? Unless you're gifted to business kind of thing. But even then, you're still going to go through it because you don't understand how to run it, right? So I'm not an expert. Who cares? I don't need to be an expert, right? That kind of thing, all right? I will find a team that will support me and will help me excel, all right? More examples. I've never done this before. Were you born learning how to walk? Did you know how to walk when you were born? I'm not aware of someone that's born walking, right? So, we learn everything at some point, right? If you have enough reasons for how to learn it, you will learn it easily, right? That kind of thing, right? Working with the right team. So great, this is a new thing. Great, now I have an opportunity to learn more stuff. That's a great reframe for that, right? Purchasing a business is too complicated. This is just like the too risky one. Too complicated compared to what, right? I mean, you just need to bring in the right team. You could also break it into pieces. You just need to do a proper plan. Great. It's complicated? Great. Now is an opportunity to execute good planning. I'm going to develop a strategic plan. I'm going to break this into pieces, and I'm going to excel, and I'm going to win, right? That would be a powerful reframe. Now, you say that to yourself, in the car or, in front of the mirror. I say it to myself in the mirror. I'm going to look myself in the eyes, and I say this to myself, right? Over and over and over again. Gets it into your head, and then it'll transform throughout the rest of your body, right? So that kind of thing, okay? So, yeah, this is an exciting opportunity to bring in a new team, all right? This is overwhelming. It's only overwhelming. So I studied psychology in college, in case you can't tell. I love it, right? But I love studying human psychology and why people think what they do and why people act the way they do and behave the way they do and that kind of stuff. And overwhelm, you can look at two different things. If you take a list of 20 things and you break it into three, and you just kind of, summarize it into three pieces, and all of a sudden, not so overwhelming, right? So you can take the same thing. It's based on your perception, right? Overwhelm is because you don't know how to do it. There's a lot of different steps, right? So if you kind of take it into pieces, all of a sudden it's not overwhelming. So when you feel overwhelmed, it's like, oh, great, opportunity to plan. Right, what an opportunity to plan. Great, I'm going to come up with a good strategy of how to do this. Right, that's just your mind telling you, I'm looking at a lot right now. David, I'm looking at a lot right now. I need this into pieces. Okay, great, what a powerful opportunity to do that. Right, now it's empowered. You see what I'm saying? So we're taking a limiting belief and we're reframing it into something that will empower you and will drive you forward into more profitability, more opportunities, and more success. And honestly, just a happier lifestyle, right? Like all the money in the world won't do you any good if you're dead, right? Because you had a heart attack or you're just miserable, right? That kind of stuff, right? So some of this stuff, even if you never purchase a business, use this. Give yourself a better life, right? Less anxiety, right? Just truly feeling empowered and driving forward to success, right? That kind of thing, okay? All right, so in your workbook, I want you to do this exercise now. Now you're going to drive a little bit deeper. And guys, if you feel resistance, like this is uncomfortable and you don't want to do it, right? Push through that. That by itself is a limiting belief. You see resistance, I want you to push forward, okay? So really get in there, really challenge yourself, all right? And then look at your own limiting beliefs, okay? And then use this is on page 4, guys, okay? Right in the smack dab middle of the page. Look at your limiting beliefs and then reframe it. If you have trouble, just take the opposite, okay? Just exact opposite of what it is that you're looking at. If you're like, I don't know what a limiting belief would be, just target something that doesn't help you succeed, okay? That isn't prosperous or doesn't lead to success. That's an easy way to do it, okay? You're like, I don't know a limiting belief. well, right there might be a limitation. You're like, well, I don't have any limit, right? But anything that is not promoting you, increasing your trajectory in life, personal, business, financial, those are the things to attack, okay? So let's go ahead and take a few minutes here and get this done. Thank you. So how was that for everybody in terms of that experience, right? Really diving into limitations that you've only put on yourself, right? Nobody has put these kinds of limitations on you except for you, right? No one can do this, right? When you take ownership of the fact that these limitations are created by you, meaning you are your own prison, but you're also your source of freedom in terms of these kinds of stuff. It could be anxiety, I mean, whatever word you want to use, right? This tightness in your chest kind of thing, this extensive nervousness taken over a period of time, right? Like, let's analyze what's really causing this. Oh, it's uncertainty. I'm uncertain as to the outcome, right? I don't know what's going to happen, and therefore I'm worrying about it. Okay, well, let's develop a strategic plan to get the best possible outcome we can, and then we're just going to let the chips fall as they may, and then we're going to reassess often and readjust as needed. If that doesn't work, we're going to try something else. If that doesn't work, we're going to try something else. And you use a bunch of comprehensive risk mitigation strategies. If you're doing all this stuff and you're still worrying, my question for you is maybe you like to worry. Maybe this is ingrained into you. Maybe this was taught to you in childhood, that this is just your normal baseline emotion, right? I have family members that have baseline emotions of anger, anxiety, overwhelm, those kinds of things. This is just their normal thing that they feel. Why? Right? Because they're creating this in themselves, right? So, but if you still feel these things after you've created these strategic plans and kind of walk through what Justin took us through, right? Then it's, man, maybe it's just, this is just a habit of mine. And now you really need to target it and obliterate that and annihilate it and do the reframe, okay? So thank you for sharing, appreciate that, okay? Now we're going to move on to our next component of the psychology that you need to be able to execute on this effectively is powerful leverage. Leverage in its simplest form is just a strong enough reason why, right? Maybe your strong enough reason why is you want absolute freedom. I want to be able to take my kids when I want, where I want, before they're adults, and I only have a few years left, right? Or maybe I want to create a home for my parents or in-laws or something like that are aging, and I need to raise capital for that, right? Or maybe I want the ability to travel, should I so choose to do so. I want to see the world and that kind of stuff, but I need an independent business that will operate without me and operate profitably without me. I'm just coming up with reasons. This is called leverage, right? There's two different kinds of leverage: the avoidance of pain and the pursuit of pleasure, right? It's two different things. The pain could be, I'm tired of freaking out about payroll all the time. That'd be an avoidance of pain, right? Or I want to spend these next blessed years with my children before they go off to college, right? That would be the pursuit of pleasure, the time, the connection, the relationships, the bonding, all that kind of stuff, right? A good leverage plan will have both, okay? We'll have both. That way it's really compelling, all right? But this will take certain creativity from you to be able to do that, okay? This leverage is essential, all right? So what I'd like you to do, all right, it's in your workbook, okay? So now we're on page 5. There's a near entire page on this, okay? We're going to work through it, all right? This is essential for you to break through these limiting beliefs that you have, even after you reframe them, and the ability to push through something new. And I've got a tip for you guys, or a little preview for you. Something new, oftentimes, until you've conditioned yourself that new is exciting, new will present fear to you, okay? You might get a little afraid, nervous. I've never done this before. How can I do this, right? That kind of thing. Because the reason why is your brain is going to try to keep you safe. That's the brain's number one job. If you're not safe, then you're much more likely to die, right? So if you're feeling fear, it's because the brain wants to keep you exactly where you are, right? Because what is known is safe. Okay, where you are, even it's going to completely derail you off of a cliff, what is known and where you are now is safe, okay? I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a story, and I'm doing it, I didn't plan on sharing this story, but I think it'll be very compelling, and I'm going to design it to shock you, okay, to shock you to get this lesson, okay? Has anybody heard of the cannibal plane that went down in South America? Anybody know what I'm talking about? right? This plane that went down, okay? You know what I'm talking about, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? Okay, well, I'm going to share it. So even if you have heard it before, just play along, okay? So basically, there's a plane full of, I think it was soccer players, right? It went down in South America. I think it was in the wintertime. It doesn't really matter for the purpose of the story. They're in this mountain, okay? In the middle of the mountains, in the middle of South America, okay? Boom, this plane crashes. A lot of people die, and the people that survive are now in the middle of nowhere. They have no idea where they are. They're completely lost. The plane went a different direction, and it crashed, okay? And they basically had this wreckage of a plane, a fuselage, right, in the mountains, okay? And so they're going to run out of food. There's basically no chance of success. There's no chance of survival. No one knows where they're at. They were completely lost, right? And so what happened? Well, instead of seeking help and trying to go out there to explore where they're at and try to figure out a way to find civilization, they resorted to cannibalism in this plane. These people were eating each other in the plane. The dead bodies, they were eating them, okay, to try to stay alive. Even after all these people were dying and all these people were getting eaten, people still did not want to leave until finally, eventually, I think it was either 2 or 3 people that said, you know what, I'm not doing this, okay? And the reason why is because that person's mother was on the plane and she wasn't doing so good. And so he knows if she dies, she's next, okay, to be eaten by all these people, okay? So finally, the leverage of pain and the pursuit of safety and survival finally overcame the fear of the plane, okay, of the eventual death. Like every single person in this plane was going to die should someone not go out and find safety, okay? But even as these people were trekking out, they were like, all right, listen, I can't take any more. I'd rather die out there than die in here, right? Even when they were leaving, the other people were still, oh, you can't go out there. That's crazy. You're gonna freeze to death out there, right? So even at that point, when death was guaranteed, they still did not want to leave, okay? Where in your life are you stuck in your fuselage, where you refuse to leave because it's known and comfortable, as opposed to trekking out and going after what is unknown, okay? I want you to just kind of think about that for a second, because it really is shocking. Now, the people that left, they did end up fighting safety. They did end up getting saved, and people came back, and there's only a few survivors, right? But where in your life are you stuck in the fuselage, in this plane? Staying there because it's known, despite whatever's going to happen, right? Which in this case was guaranteed death, okay? So it's a crazy story, but the application of it is massive, okay? In terms of your own life, personal, business, financial. Oh, I'd rather, like where I grew up. Being an entrepreneur, that's insane. I wouldn't want to do that, right? It's because it just wasn't known and wasn't understood, and there's no one else that had done it, right? And now that I'm here, this is who I am. This is a way of life. Entrepreneurial lifestyle is a way of life, right? Do I have a law firm? Yes, but I see myself as an entrepreneur first and foremost, okay? That's how I view myself, right? So back to this, okay? So creating your leverage, okay? Creating your leverage. The avoidance of pain and the pursuit of pleasure. I want you to go through this exercise, all right? If you doubled your revenue, okay, as you mentioned that you were doing, which a really good job, and you doubled your personal income, what are the 3 biggest changes in your life that you will experience? And let's just assume that you have that, okay? And as you're gonna learn, that is a very doable outcome for you, okay? There are, $14 trillion of opportunity in the next 10 years from all the businesses being thrown away, right? You just get a tiny little piece of that, right? A tiny little piece of that. Go through this exercise and really build out your why, okay? What would your day-to-day life be like? Right? Like, go through this. Really visual. I want you to get crystal clear on this. Do as much specific detail as possible, not only on the avoidance of pain, but the pursuit of pleasure, so that you can really use this to leverage when your brain tries to keep you exactly where you are, because where you are is known, and where you are is therefore safer than out there in the scary wilderness, right, of the unknown. You will be able to use this leverage, okay? I specifically do this exact exercise for myself, and I put it up on the wall next to my bed, so I see it. I actually do pictures. That's my personal methodology. I create pictures, and I can make it very simple. I have a picture on the right, a picture on the left, right? Which one am I going towards today? And I've changed it over time. You're either going here, or you're going there, right? You're either growing or you're dying. In business, there are only 2 options. Which one are you doing, right? So you're making a choice every single day, right? So these are the things that I use to create leverage to do this for myself. Okay, so let's go through this exercise. Let's take a couple of minutes and really dive into this. Get very specific. I want you to visualize it and determine this for yourself. All right, let's get to work. Close your eyes and visualize what life would be like when this is completed, okay, and your gross revenue, your personal income is doubled, okay? You no longer chase growth. You have achieved it in a single move, okay? So let's go ahead and go through that as well. And there's several questions in your workbook for this, okay? So go through it, all right? So number one, what would your day-to-day life look like? Keep on working, guys, while we're talking. Question two, what would this mean for your family's lifestyle? Okay? Should your gross income double and your personal income double as a result of a single move? Okay? What would this mean for your family's lifestyle? What would this change? How would this change your confidence to move forward? Maybe now you're ready to purchase an even bigger business. Maybe now you're able to start something completely differently. Okay? How would this change your confidence as a business owner? Okay? And the fourth question, what would it mean to you? And this is the avoidance of pain component. Imagine now that you didn't do anything and you stayed exactly the way you are right now. How would this feel for you a year from now to have all these tools and all these resources and all these strategies that you didn't take advantage of and your life is exactly the same? Okay? So answer all these questions. Let's take a couple of minutes here. Thank you. The final question that I want you to answer. This is going to be your directive to your nervous system, okay? Once you complete the rest of these exercises, this is something that I want you to memorize. Something that I want you to memorize. This is your power declaration. This will drive you forward. This is on the very next page, or I think it's actually on the bottom of the page. Your power declaration. Not only will it help you through the rest of this event, but it will help you through the next year as you attack these opportunities. Okay? I am the kind of entrepreneur who blank. Fill in the blank with what feels right to you. Okay? I'm the kind of entrepreneur who only moves forward. I'm the kind of entrepreneur who does not accept anything less than absolute victory. I'm the kind of entrepreneur who will double their business no matter what it takes. I'm the kind of entrepreneur who only sees success and never fails. It's all just it's a mindset. It's a perception of it, by the way. If you think, oh, how can I only win? Well, change your definition of winning. What if your definition of victory was you learned? Then you could conceivably never fail, right? You see what I'm saying? So this is your power declaration. This is something I want you to memorize. And the next time you talk to someone in this room here, when we do an exercise or we share, ask them what their power declaration is, okay? No excuses. Let's do it. This is fun, guys. This is going to be the framework for everything moving forward. Even if you never acquire a business, could this not substantially help you in doubling your business organically? Absolutely, right? Your power declaration. How are you going to define yourself as an entrepreneur? Okay, one more minute, then we're going to keep moving. All right, we're going to keep rolling, guys. We're a little bit behind, so we're going to keep moving along here, okay? You can keep working on this at a minimum. Have a visual for what your life will be like when you close on your next or first acquisition, okay? What is that going to look like for you? What kind of difference is that going to make for your family and your children and everything else, okay? And then have your power declaration memorized, okay? This is something I want you to put on your wall, on your dry erase board, if you have a chalkboard, in your bedroom, put it everywhere, okay? Put it on the desktop of your computer. I am the kind of entrepreneur who does not accept anything less than absolute victory. Just for example, that's kind of fun. I like the sound of that, right? So it can be whatever it is for you.